Good afternoon. Welcome, Peter and Paul. I think we had a couple more that had registered to sign up to join us today. Um, this is our kickoff to Economic Development Week. So thank you, Emily, Seek Associate. I'm Julie Piketty, Executive Director at Seek. We're thrilled to host Economic Development Week. Our kickoff event is the industry feature with our alliances at SUNY Cobleskill, the Institute for Rural Vitality, and also AIM, the Advanced Institute for Manufacturing. I see there are some other folks joining us, so you're just in time. We're just getting kicked off. Today is our kickoff to Economic Development Week. Today is the industry feature, lunch and learn. Bring your own lunch, BYOL. Uh, Today we're going to talk about an industry feature about if you're making things in Schoharie County, there are resources available to you, whether it's high-end fabricated parts for nuclear submarines, or if it's a new milk drink that you'd like to invent and put on the market. This is just the first of a series of events that Emily has coordinated for this week. Tomorrow is the industry feature of tourism. There is a tourism brochure exchange at Red Fox Stables in Schoharie. That's at 4:30. Wednesday is the digital power hour in the morning at 10 o'clock featuring Black Dog. The topic is SEO basics. Wednesday afternoon at 12:30, our friends at Schoharie County and Midtel are going to do a presentation on the last mile build. It's the Schoharie County broadband chat on where is that 30 plus $1 million going? Is the new fiber going by your house? And if so, can you afford $25 a month to access it? So they'll be checking maps to see if it's traveling by your house, but it's an extraordinary investment of Schoharie County in New York State. It's Connect All office that we're really excited about having those folks speak directly to the community about the opportunity and possibilities. Thursday is another industry feature with our friends from Schoharie County. It's State of the County Agriculture. That is also at noon. And then Friday, Emily and Trish, Seek Associates, have organized a Sharon Springs walkabout. Seek is currently administering a small project fund, meaning a about $300,000 available to do building improvements and public art installations in the village of Schoharie. That program is funded by New York State through their New York Forward program. You can find out more about all of these events on our website at seekny.org, seecny.org. So thanks again, Emily, for planning a great Economic Development Week. So let's get started with our first industry feature. Corey Albrecht joins us today from AIM, the Advanced Institute of Manufacturing. They are an organization, he's going to tell us all about it, but they're an organization based in Utica, and they do serve the Mohawk Valley region. Schoharie County is one of 6 counties in the Mohawk Valley region. Corey and his counterpart Jeff were in Schoharie County just last summer talking to different businesses about training programs, about funding resources and such. So Corey's here today to give you the details, to give you the deets. So take it away, Corey.
Thank you, Julie. And thank you, Emily, as well. And this is a great opportunity. And one thing that I was thinking about as well, as I'm listening to the opening remarks, is really the weather is going to be fantastic this week too. So you have all these activities, and it's sunny out, and the rain has stopped. So personally, I'm really excited about that. But okay, folks. So good afternoon. My name is Corey Albrecht. I am here at the Advanced Institute for Manufacturing, AIM, which is embedded inside of Mohawk Valley Community College, located here in Utica, New York. And I'm the center director for the program here. And I'll tell you all about the program. So next slide, please, Emily. Okay, so I won't go through really word for word on all of this, but I'll paraphrase when it's appropriate. But here at the Institute for Manufacturing, our mission is actually very simple. We assist small to mid-size manufacturers. So your small manufacturers that would be 500 employees or fewer that are located here in the six-county Mohawk Valley region. We help these companies develop new products, reduce their costs, and increase their profits. And we do this right here in Schoharie County, in Oneida County, in the six counties in the Mohawk Valley region. Next, I'd like to talk just a little bit about our funding. So where we come from and what does MEP stand for and all that. So first of all, MEP stands for Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We have 11 MEPs in the state of New York. And again, AIM would be the MEP for the Mohawk Valley region. We have more than 500 offices in the U.S., which is pretty outstanding. That's a big number, right? And 1,200 field staff, boots on the ground every day, helping small and medium-sized manufacturers again achieve those goals, extend their routes where they're currently at, develop new products, reduce their costs, increase their profits and their competitiveness. So 1,200 field staff. On the federal level, we receive our funding from NIST, which is the National Institutes of Standard and Technology, which is part of the U.S. Department of Commerce. On the state level, we receive some of our funding from NISTAR. And I included in the middle there, you'll see a couple community college partners that we have, Fulton Montgomery Community College and also Herkimer College. The very unique thing being in the six county Mohawk Valley region is we have three partner SUNY community college campuses. So three of the 30 colleges we have right here in our region, again, being Herkimer, FMCC, and our program here at Mohawk Valley Community College. So that's a little bit about the background and the funding. Next slide, Emily, please. Okay, so what this slide really gets into, and it's not really fully inclusive of every industry that we've assisted in the Mohawk Valley, but it's a lot of these industries. So again, we work within the robotics industry, food and beverage manufacturing, which I think you're going to hear an awful lot about here this afternoon during the presentations, metal and wood industries. We have many dozens of organizations, small to mid-sized manufacturers, six counties that are working in that area, as well as distribution centers. So this would be Target, Walmart, Tractor Supply, Family Dollar. We have all those here in the region, which is really fantastic. And I would add, if I had room to add a fifth picture in here, I would include semiconductor and microelectronics industry. Those are quickly growing industries in the I-90 corridor, in the semiconductor corridor here in the state of New York, specifically here in the Mohawk Valley. Next slide, please. And I think if you hit it again, Emily, it might go down with all the services. There we go. Perfect. Thank you. So next I want to talk about the services and the programs which myself and my team and our third-party contractors, which we offer here in the Mohawk Valley region. First is our process improvement. We have many consultants, again, full-time, part-time, third-party contractors that work in this space. These are all your Lean Six Sigma. So this is your white belt, your yellow belt, your green and your black belt. Process improvement work. So this is really your bigger, faster, stronger. How do we save money? How do we streamline? How do we set up our operations? How do we increase our efficiencies? We do an awful lot of that work. I'm going to say maybe that's 60% of the work that we do here at AIM is within process improvement. The next one I'll mention is our QMS, or our quality management systems. We have a full-time on-staff senior manufacturing consultant. His name is Michael Marusik. He's been with us here for 9.5 years. He runs all the ISO certification programs. So your ISO 9001, AS 9100, specific for aerospace industry. He works a lot with the DoD small manufacturers that we have in the region. He can set the system up, he can install it, he can train your auditors. Many of our clients in the six counties work with us in that capacity. Next is the technical training. So this is really the specialty at MVCC, and one of the major benefits of having an MEP center embedded inside of a community college is we have these programs in welding, electrical, mechanical, HVAC, CNC machining, cybersecurity, and drones. We have these programs already standing up and offered on the credit side. So many times we can reach across the credit side, scoop up a program in the same curriculum, and many times with the same instructional staff, and offer them at your doorstep, right, of your small to medium sized manufacturer. And we do a lot of work in that space as well. Next would be all the work that we do for the food and beverage manufacturer. So this is your HACCP program, your safe quality foods. Again, training, auditing, certification levels, many success stories in the 6 counties within that. Next is your safety training. We have a number of individuals actually that can uh, work in this capacity. So this is your OSHA 10, your OSHA 30, your general annual safety training at your company. We do a lot of work in that area. Cybersecurity is one of our specialties here at AIM, and I'll talk about it, I believe, in the next slide here. But all 10 regions that have an MEP center, their center specializes in one thing, and I can go through those in a later slide. Our specialty here in the Mohawk Valley at AIM is in cybersecurity. So we've managed 3 separate rounds of what's called the New York State Cybersecurity Manufacturing Initiatives Grant. We're in the 3rd round of that right now. So AIM is the fiscal managers and the administrators of this grant program, where over 7 years, we've awarded another big number here. We've awarded more than 350 small manufacturers in all 10 regions of the state of New York with a no-cost cybersecurity assessment. So we're helping secure these small businesses, specifically in the manufacturing industry. Supply chain is our next one here. Of course, very important today. Not only U.S. supply chain, but a hyper local supply chain. Mohawk Valley, your county, your city, your town. Let's build out those supply chains. So through our network, we have many experts in those areas. And just to finish up, I mean, really, sales, marketing, some of your strategic business services, engineering, design, and prototyping. And finally, would be the SUNY apprenticeship program, which is run in our office here. So Mohawk Valley Community College is the fiscal managers again of the SUNY apprenticeship program for advanced manufacturing. So manufacturing organizations can receive up to $6,000 per registered apprentice, and we have a department that specializes in that. And if anyone is ever interested in learning more about the SUNY apprenticeship program, I can be a point of contact here, and I can put you in touch with the right people. Emily, next slide, please. And if you hit it one more time, there you go. And so this is really, again, talking about the statewide network, right? So we have 11 centers in the state of New York representing 10 individual regions, with a Fuse Hub being the 11th center, and that's our statewide center. And they really specialize in marketing and events and connections and really B2B within the state of New York. Um, just a couple highlights here. So every one of these centers, again, has a very unique specialty. As an example, the second one down, Central New York region, TDO, they have a statewide grant, and they're the statewide lead for supply chain management. So when I speak about programs and services which can be accessed through the Advanced Institute for Manufacturing, I would use this network here to reach out to these centers and really ask for their guidance and support and assistance for what their specialty is. The third one down, Southern Tier Region, AM&T, they specialize in advanced manufacturing industry 4.0, right? So they are very talented in that department. So oftentimes when I get a need here in the 6 county region here, I can reach out to friends and partners from across the state. So that's a very good representation of the statewide network and the power of New York MEP. Next slide, please, Emily. And this one really dovetails with the previous slide. The lightly shaded 6 counties in the middle there, that's the Mohawk Valley. So it's just nice visual representation. So again, Schoharie County, Otsego County, Fulton, Montgomery, Oneida, Herkimer. That's really where where we spend our time from Rome and Utica and Herkimer and Johnstown and Cobleskill, right? Everywhere's in between. That's where we have those small to mid-sized manufacturers. And I just want to talk about the numbers of these companies. So I mentioned 500 employees or fewer. There's more than 400 small manufacturers, believe it or not, in the six-county Mohawk Valley region. So it's a significant number, and we have talented companies that are here, and these talented companies are really making awesome products that are really recognized not only around the country, but in many cases around the globe as well. Next slide, please. And I'll end just with some high level, I guess, very high level highlights here. So, in the last year, um, we did provide service to 100 manufacturers, right? And it's through the projects, it's through events and workshops. We also had more than 250 million in the 3 year impact. And what this is after a program, a service, or an event, we have a third party marketing organization surveys the company, and they ask them questions like, "What are your cost savings? Did you gain any jobs? So job retention, new jobs added, any increase in sales." So all these data points and impacts are rolled up and reported back to the MEP centers. And again, very happy to report over a 3 year period of time, a little more than 250 million in economic impact. Over 9.5 years now, we have been successful in building our program to more than 10 full and part-time individuals working here at AIM. I talked a little earlier about NIST and NISTAR. Again, those are our funding partners that help make our organization here whole. And then a funding assistance. If there is time later in the program this afternoon, I can get into a little more detail regarding that. But we have third-party organizations that want to subsidize your work, right? That want to partner with New York MEP, partner with AIM, and then they can help us. Those include, I did mention the SUNY apprenticeship program, but I'd also like to mention National Grid on the electric side and on the gas side, and it's called Manufacturing Productivity Program. So if you are in a National Grid service territory, I can help connect you and your business to those funding opportunities. And then finally, a group called WDI, Workforce Development Institute. Very great group. We have a regional manager that has the same counties that I'm representing, and she does a fantastic job. And they take a look at funding within like the five to $15,000 range, and sometimes they are interested in capital funding as well. So, any capital purchases, small pieces of equipment, uh, enhancements, renovations to your facility, and things like that. And then finally, I think on the last slide, Emily, I just had my contact information. Again, so I'm Corey Albrecht, and if anyone wants to reach out to me, that is my cell phone number. You can reach me directly, and there's my email, and I'd be happy to connect with each and every one of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey. That was fantastic. And a great overview of what AIM offers to the Mohawk Valley. I'm going to ask folks on the call to write down your questions, and we'll ask all questions at the end so we give it fair time to Dr. Scott Ferguson and Mary Cool from SUNY Cobleskill Institute for Rural Vitality. Looks like Scott's getting his system set. Um, and thank you, Jen and Rulissa, for joining us today, Peter and Paul. I'm sure Paul has a few questions. We're going to save it for the end. Um, Here we go. Institute for Rural Vitality is coming up on the screen now. You could also put your questions into the chat if you're inclined.
Thank you, um, Seek, for pulling this together, and we're happy to be involved here with AIM. And I would start by differentiating us from AIM a bit. Um, we focus predominantly on micro enterprises and entrepreneurs. We're the Entrepreneurship Assistance Center for the Mohawk Valley for all of the counties, which their mission is to build startups in New York State. So we typically are dealing with the beginning side of the business or the really small businesses of 10 people, 15 people, even if they've been in existence for a while, when they start to try to make new products or expand their business into different footprints and things like that. We're working with these participants from developing their business all the way from concept through new product development to expand their business into new places. And our funding comes from a variety of state and federal programs that we actively compete for in competitive bids. It's not changing, 1 second. There we go. Our food and ag footprint, if you will, really covers from across the state. These are the areas of initiatives that we have within the Institute for Rural Vitality here at SUNY Cobleskill. We are a part of the SUNY Cobleskill campus, which is one of the 7 agricultural and technology campuses of New York State. So we have quite a bit of focus in the agribusiness and agricultural engineering types of things, which we'll get into some details on what they look like. So we have an entrepreneurship center, and in that we have an ag and food incubator, an accelerator, the Mohawk Valley Entrepreneurship Assistance Center, rural business incubator and accelerator program. We have the business development boot camp, which someone can join that from idea through an existing business, and we take a customer-centric approach on how to move that business forward, how to raise funds for it, and make it a living, breathing organization that is profitable. We just hosted our first annual business plan competition. To be eligible for that, you have to go through one of the EAC's boot camps. There's 26 EACs across the state. We are the only business plan competition hoster for EAC in upstate New York. We had 14 teams compete for $32,000 last week. We also have the Entrepreneur Expo, which is a way for small businesses to introduce their market to consumers. So we typically have around 30 vendors at an event with hundreds of products. And the slogan for that is taste, try, and buy. So it's an opportunity for the public to come in and just check things out. And if they like it, buy it right there on the spot. We also have an automated system where we capture feedback from all of the participants so that the vendors go away with real customer feedback on their products to help them improve it and expand their business. We do a small business workshop series, typically one in the spring and one in the fall, with a variety of topics that the small businesses that we're interacting with have told us they're having issues with or need more education about or assistance with. We haven't finalized the agenda yet for this coming fall, but it will be topics that the 110 or 20 businesses that we've worked with this year have given us feedback they really would like. And then lastly, in that Entrepreneur Center, We have a value-added product development program, which is focused on producers. So this is really focused on foods predominantly. We have had some that have done other things like cloths or materials from grown products and things like that, but the majority of them are food products. We also have the next bucket is credentials and workforce development. We have a lot of work that we do in that space. We are one of the leading SUNY institutions out of the 64 SUNY campuses in credentials, which are small, specific skill-based kinds of trainings. We have 66 offerings now. A large portion of agribusiness workforce development is done here. We have funding from the Empowers Award of 1.5 million over the next 3 years. That's really focused on agribusiness workforce development. We do customized training. We have a number of examples that we've worked with businesses and organizations to develop things in the banking finance area, career paths for people that are neurodiverse, and customer service programs, things like that, that businesses have a need to bring into their workplace. We do a lot of work with meat processing and dairy processing and agricultural engineering. Those are the next 3 bullets. The Northeast Regional Training Center is all about heavy equipment, and that includes agricultural equipment. And then we do a number of programs for the incoming funnel of USDA qualified people for jobs. A number of things that we offer for shared use that entrepreneurs can use in producing their products. I'm not going to read through that list, but that is a unique identifier that makes us really stand out separately from a number of other places that people can work with, that these maker spaces, if you will, are available for entrepreneurs to work in and to develop their product. We have a food scientist that helps them on the food side of things. That's Mary. She's going to be talking in a few minutes. And then we're involved in a number of economic development initiatives. And with that, I'm going to ask Mary to give you just an inkling of the food manufacturing side of things that we get involved with.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to be sharing just an overview of this PowerPoint that will be presented at the Small Business Development Center next week on basic food manufacturing. So to start with, here are some photos from, as Scott mentioned, our shared use space that's available to, they're right here in SUNY Cobleskill, that support small food businesses producing their value-added products, and it's giving them access to professional grade equipment and space. So first top corner is just a snip of our dairy processing center. We have actually 4 commercial kitchens. We have a food packaging lab that is designed for those entrepreneurs that have outgrown the kitchen and need to scale up to a larger volume. And below is just a picture of a participant that is using our brew lab, the brewing and distilling lab, to make a product. And last but not least is a picture of the meat science. It's actually fish and meat science lab that can be used. Oh, and I'm sorry, in the top is we have the newest addition to our space is a cheese cave that can be used for those entrepreneurs that are looking to develop more of an aged cheese. Okay, next. Okay, so we talk about food manufacturing. So food manufacturing, food processing, they're often used interchangeably, but basically both of them refer to techniques and processes that are used to transform raw ingredients into safe, consumable products and to preserve food for longer shelf life and a broader distribution. So you can see no, you're fine. So, and why does food manufacturing matter? So there's several key reasons why we do this. The growing global population is going to require more efficient and scalable food production. Food safety, regulation, meeting these standards to keep food safe is very essential. We want to improve food availability and reduce shortages. And businesses, they benefit from controlling their production costs. Excuse me. Their optimized manufacturing and innovation is driving the development of new products, technology, and sustainability. Okay, next. So food manufacturing doesn't happen without the sciences. Okay, next. So we have from microbiology to chemistry, engineering, nutrition, all of these science fields work together so we can ensure that these raw materials are safe and efficiently transformed into finished goods.
And this is really what we help people with in the food space here at the Institute.
Right. Okay, so if you look at the concepts of basic food manufacturing, there's a ton of regulations for fresh, refrigerated, frozen, shelf stable, each with their own unique set of processes that go along with that. Okay, next. Okay, so what are we looking for at the future? Sustainability, you hear it all over. Customers as consumers, as well as manufacturers, they're all very aware of sustainability. They want the process to be more efficient and sustainable. Your packaging, the product itself, looking for a reduction of food waste. A lot of manufacturers are looking to take that raw material and get the best use out of it as possible. Because you know that in manufacturing, a lot of times there is some very great byproducts that are produced from a manufacturing. So they're looking to take those byproducts and turn them into value-added products. Consumer expectations. Everybody wants to know where your product came from. Where's my food coming from? And there's more of a demand for organic, plant-based, allergen-free, and those better for you health products. And again, you have to look at your workforce. Different automation technology is changing in the manufacturing world, even in small entrepreneurs, things are changing. So you've got to, really look at your work environment a little different. Your employees are going to need more skilled training to understand this automation. And a lot of it too is employees are seeking roles in commercial or in businesses that provide an offer like a work-life balance. So it's, really influencing the way that businesses are looking at their structure and the workplace culture.
So we thought that would give people a snippet of the detail assistance that we can provide to people from a food manufacturing and development perspective.
So food manufacturing is pretty complex, highly regulated, but it's essential. Blending science, business, innovation, and those future trends are both an opportunity and a challenge. Thank you.
We thought we'd share briefly with you some of the results. This is last year's results. We tabulate at the end of June. So we'll be well over 800 farm and food businesses that we've served. And we'll be somewhere close to pushing 140 plus new products that we've helped people with. And this is just to give you an idea of businesses that we've helped. Remember, the Entrepreneurship Assistance Center that we are for the Mohawk Valley is across all businesses. So we help a number of small businesses, and that focuses on the concept through. So it's very much the entrepreneur themselves and the micro enterprise as they're getting started, or if it's a small business, helping that micro enterprise continue to be more profitable and change with the business environment around them. Just to give you an idea of some of the businesses. And we just thought we'd close on sharing with you our slogan and sticker that we give out to people, that small businesses grow here at the Institute for Rural Vitality.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary Cool and Dr. Scott. I know, I see you chuckling. What so impressive to see all of those businesses that you've supported and the beginner farmers and such. That's really it's a proud institution and a proud community. We're pleased to have both of these organizations with us working in the Mohawk Valley and Schoharie County. So we do have a few questions, but before we ask our questions, let's ask Rulissa, Jen, Paul, Peter, if you have any questions that you thought of, either for Corey Albrecht with our friends at AIM or Dr. Scott and Mary from SUNY Cobleskill IRV. Jen Gregory's got to have a question. You're muted right now. Oh, there
Sorry,
she goes.
sorry, I'm having such technical difficulty with my computer. So very interesting. Thank you so much for hosting this. So coming from the regional board, sometimes we will get calls from the private sector. And my response usually is we don't help the businesses directly, we help the support teams like yourselves. And so I'm not so familiar with AIM as much as I am AM&T for the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. But thank you for this because you're right in line. And I didn't know the specifics, your cybersecurity, their industry for. So that's very helpful to know. Also with Cobleskill, oh my gosh, all the businesses. I had no idea that your work was so broad, Scott. It's amazing to see. So if someone is looking for this, what we're trying to do is, we have the platform SoTier, and I'm looking to, we went out to our partners. Sorry, this is a really involved question. We went out to our partners. We asked them to self-identify what their top services are. So now I'd like to transition that website, now that we're used to it, from the user interface. What is this business looking for? And point them in the direction of your area. Do you already have something that's established like that, like a list for the supply chain? Or if you are working in the agriculture or new food space, um, a reference point that I can look at for a website and who I should contact for more information for that.
So they're looking to redesign their website. Is that the takeaway from that?
I am. And so I want to not
Or
redesign,
you are.
expand
Okay.
on it. And so I want to make sure that I'm well representing the services that you offer.
Mhm.
And as for everybody's purposes, Jen Gregory is the executive director of Southern Tier 8. They are the conduit to the Appalachian Regional Commission, which is a federally designated commission. Schoharie County is uniquely involved in Southern Tier 8 because of that recognition as an ARC community and county designation. Where Jen sent the other day that the ARC, the Appalachian Regional Commission, is one of the only commissions that will continue to be funded, as it seems, in the federal budget. So Jen has a big order and a unique position to support businesses. So Tier is Southern Tier. It's the marketing way in which they have an online presence. So what I heard Jen say is, who is a contact and what are the best resources available to highlight on that Southern Tier 8 website and portal for businesses?
Thank you, Julie.
Sure.
Hi,
And I'm
Jen. I can
pleased to
take a
serve as a
stab.
board member on that. Corey, go
I can take
ahead.
a stab at that. Yeah. Um, Jen, if you want to put your email maybe in the chat, I can send you some things. So we have a feature on the AIM a website and page where if you have a need, we're associating your need as a company with a specific resource. Being who is that senior manufacturing consultant, who is the technical service provider, and on a click of a button, that person, that professional gets a individual email from you. They get a notice from you. So it's basically like, I don't want to call it emergency response, but if you're a small to mid-sized manufacturer, you have a need, you can raise your hand, pinpoint that person that has a solution, hit a button, and they get an immediate I guess a notification from you,
Uh,
right? And it raises a flag, and then they know that they need to perform some outreach. So it's kind of like a response, an emergency response, I guess. But I can send you all that, and it's just a click away.
That'd be great because, and Carol's been expanding, I know, with cybersecurity with your help as well. So
That's
we're
right.
like following your lead with what you do for manufacturing. You mentioned it, the semiconductors expanding here, the
Right.
storage. So we are all getting calls now with growth for, and our, so sometimes in the supply chain, I'm surprised, but more so like the community development. Where's the site development? What is the policy for some of this? So
Right.
being that we have that Rolodex, I want to make sure that it's user friendly with everyone.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
That sounds like a great resource. So I look forward to seeing that and taking advantage of that myself too. So thank you. And I'll
Thank
get that right over to you, Jen.
you.
All right, so it looks like we do have another question in the chat, and it's from Rusalia. It said, is there a list of local poultry processors? My husband and I are considering starting a small-scale poultry meat business.
We can get back to you with some that some of the producers that we work with use. We here at the college, the USDA facility here does not do poultry. We do lamb, goat, pork, beef, and fish. But we do have a number of participants we work with that use certain meat processors, so we can get that list to you.
Outstanding. Rulissa, would you like to? Yes, she said, great, thank you. Would you like to drop your email, or Emily may have it from registration as well, that we can
Yeah,
share with you, Mary and Scott?
yeah, just get us the email and we can send that to you.
You got it.
Oh, there it is. Can you write that down?
Lisa?
Peter or Paul, do either of you have a question?
That's her first name.
Paul, you're muted.
No.
Is that better? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Paul Conroy with Seek. First of all, Corey, I ran a plastics manufacturing business for Honeywell in Europe, and all this talk of Six Sigma and productivity has given me PTSD. So, one of the things that I've observed as I've gotten involved with the economic development in much smaller companies than I work for. I work for General Electric and Honeywell and a large Korean company, is that, in large companies, you have functional experts, right? Around Six Sigma, around quality, around productivity sourcing, et cetera, marketing. In smaller companies, they don't have that kind of concentration of expertise, right? So when you run into that and you're providing training, I'll take Six Sigma. Do you pick someone in the organization to train the trainer, or how do you do that?
So a couple things, and I can appreciate your point of view on that too. And that's exactly what the NIST Manufacturing Extension Partnership is all about. And that's why we do receive our funding and really focus on those small to mid-sized manufacturers, because exactly to your point, Paul, the small company that's in the machining industry, right? Metalworks, and they have 60 employees, which is probably like the sweet spot of the 400 manufacturers across the 6 counties. They don't have those individual expertise like you're talking about. They don't have a dedicated ISO quality management system person, or they don't have a continuous improvement supervisor, and they may not even have a environmental health and safety individual. So, I mean, really, the beauty of New York MEP and NIST MEP is to have those small companies that do have some real concerns and some real needs. They can reach out of their company inside an MEP center, scoop up a level of expertise, and have that person, him or her, professionally deliver that service on site for a very short period of time. Sometimes our trainings can be a few hours, sometimes it can be, a couple sessions, or some of our longer programs, like you mentioned, Lean Six Sigma, and I can mention ISO quality management system, but several weeks of instruction, right? So, it's a tool for the small companies, and they really are, for the most part, taking advantage of those services, not only here in the state, but across the entire national network. Now, your specific question was, how do you find the person within the organization to really spearhead that, lead that, and to continue that charge? And that's that's right on target as well. The best projects we have that ownership, right? Have someone within the organization that's going to drive that forward, continue that on when you leave, right? Back to your lean days, which I can understand, the I don't know, constraints maybe it caused you at one point in time. But if you have that person that really wants to take that lead and to implement and to be that change, offer that change within the culture, those are the best programs. Now, not every time we have an engagement with an employer do we have a champion internally, but the best projects we ever have do certainly have that person. And I would just leave you with this final thought too. Anything that we can leave behind, anything that can have further implementation. You mentioned train the trainer. I mean, those are perfect models, right? It's there's no question those are the best projects. I would just say that, a lot of companies do have that capability, and we also have many small companies within the region. And I think naturally it's not their fault. It's just they're busy doing other things. They're busy surviving. They're busy building a supply chain and making parts so that they can ship on Friday to be on time and make the payroll. And so they don't always have those individuals that can really own the project. But to your point, if they do, it sticks, right? And it's a difference maker.
Yeah, thank you. It's a real challenge. I mean, I have probably about 200 hours of Six Sigma training. I'm a certified green belt, and there's a lot to it. It would be very difficult to go out and run a Six Sigma for a company for me, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with that level, with that many hours, so it's asking a lot of these small companies to
Yeah.
absorb a lot of these skills and expertise. And maybe the solution is they have access not only to training to know when they need it and what's possible, but also to access those types of skills as kind of a project, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no
There's,
question. Yeah, I would also say, I would add, you mentioned Honeywell a couple of different times. We actually have a third-party contractor we use for our EHS work, some of our EHS work, who's a retired engineer from Honeywell. Maybe we can catch up sometime. I'm wondering if maybe you cross paths with this gentleman at one point in time. So
Sure.
uh, feel free to send me a message sometime. We can share
Okay.
some stories.
Yeah, we'll do.
so just
Thank
just a comment on that.
Go ahead.
Mary's actually a black belt in the food processing space. So there's a ton of experience that we bring in the food space, and it overlaps with manufacturing.
That's fantastic. Congratulations, Mary, for the credentialing. That's as Paul suggested and Corey suggested, it's a real commitment to get to that level. Peter, I think you're unmuted. Did you have a question?
I'm the least experienced person on this call. I just wanted to say that I'm deeply impressed by the level of sophistication and the breadth of involvement that I'm learning about today. I'm really quite impressed. And I guess our job at a place like Seek is to uncover these people and turn them over to you, because I think the quality of the services that both organizations provide is really quite superlative. So,
Yeah,
Well,
great.
thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. And you're 100% right, Peter. Jen pointed at it as well. Navigating all these really tremendous resources can be tricky for the business community. So, however we can bring it forward and share information today, we're recording this conversation just as a way to republish, to make it available for others at their convenience. Grab some sound bites and let them know that Schoharie County is served, has some great resources available. looks like Paul has one more question.
Yeah, just a quick question for both Scott and Corey. Sometimes it's good to hear from the experts and so on that you and the expertise that you guys provide, but it's also good to show people a best practice. Do either or both of you have kind of a favorite child, that a company that's a best practice that we could actually point people to show them and say, hey, they went through this training. This is how they internalize this training, and this is what they've done with that training.
Are you
Yeah,
asking for the
Well,
teachers to pick their favorites,
yeah,
Paul?
I am. I am. So I apologize,
Okay,
but
just wanted to make sure.
you
Stay
can
so
have
I,
two
steady.
I
more
can
than one.
I can answer that for the IRV. What we wind up doing is we tend to have people in spaces that we use. So if somebody comes to us from dairy, we tend to go to the dairy producer that we've worked with that's expanded really, really well. And they're actually up by you, Corey. They're in Rome. It's the Collins farm. They came to us
Yeah.
before they built their farm processing capability and developed their products here. And then we helped them develop their capabilities on the farm and their protocols and all of that sort of stuff. So it depends on what the person's trying to do, who we point them to. But yeah, we have a number of what I would call star students that have just graduated and they're flying stars that just keep growing and growing. Absolutely.
Right.
So Paul, I would add to that, and I would say we have a number of different small manufacturers which we've had successes with. We have a special spot on our web page. It's only for those success stories. So we have Utica Coffee is up there. I'm thinking of food and beverage manufacturers here, but HP Hood, Utica Coffee, FX Matt Brewery, and then we have many non-food manufacturers on there. But we have maybe a dozen or so very specific success stories from our manufacturing clients, and we present them in a way where we list the initial problem, and then we discuss what the presented solution was offered by AIM MEP. And then finally, and probably most important, is the impact of the project, right? So 6 months after the project, 1 year after the project, what was the impact? What was the sustainable impact? Did it save money? Did it increase performance and efficiencies? Was it a cost savings? Was it a business growth project that we implemented with them? So again, very specifically, I'd be happy to send you those individual success stories. The other thing that I would just know is I did mention a couple organizations by name, and I'm sure, as you could probably imagine and appreciate, we have confidentiality agreements with almost all of our clients, but those are very specific manufacturers that said, "Oh my goodness, we want you to tell our story." So I didn't want anyone on this call thinking that every company we work with, I put their story on my webpage, because we have special permission for that. But yeah, great projects with HP Hood. We did their entire maintenance staff went through it's called mechatronics training with us. So we had our instructor on campus. One of these examples that I was going through, we scooped up what we do for mechatronics, mechanical and electrical, which is a 1 year certificate program on our campus, scoop that program up with the curriculum and the same instructor, and delivered that program in Vernon, New York, in the door of HP Hood, and it was just it was a fantastic project. Utica Coffee Roasting, which is right down here in the city of Utica, we've done many things with them. One being SQF Level 1 certification, hazard analysis, critical control points, all the HACCP planning that they went through, really helped them and their owner Frank Elias take that jump about 4 or 5 years ago when he was able to bid and win some big contracts, which kind of business growth. So yeah, many successes like that, and I'll share them with you.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Emily
guys.
actually, Emily was able to get that posted into the chat already. So Emily found it online, posted it in the chat. And where you were headed right there, Corey, is I believe the first question that Emily has, and we have about 5 minutes left. So the first question Emily had was related to that certification. question. So Emily?
Yeah, the question is, so what are the specific training programs or certifications that AIM offers that align with the manufacturing workforce needs?
Perfect. That's a good question. So thank you for that question. I did outline some of those in the presentation, but I actually jotted some down here too. So if you see me look down, I didn't want to miss any of the programs, but I'm going to really categorize them into three different areas. One is the technical training, which I just went through, like at HP Hood. That's the upskilling of incumbent workforce, right? So that's you have a workforce, you have a technical workforce, you have a need. So we can come in, MVCC, with the support of AIM, we can come in and offer the welding, the electrical, mechanical, HVAC, CNC machining, and then some ancillary programs that are very important to support those, like your shop math, intro to manufacturing, terminologies and theory. Back to Paul with the lean manufacturing stuff there. Um, the blueprint reading. So we have the wraparound services for all those technical trainings. That's category number one. Category number two is the what I call MEP core services. So these are your manufacturing consulting services, which many of the MEPs across the state of New York would offer. So this is your lean, this is your ISO, this is your mid-level managers training, this is supply chain enhancements and development, OSHA safety training. These are MEP core services where if you go to our MEP center in Long Island, or if you go to Insight Consulting, which is in Buffalo, pretty much we're all going to offer those manufacturing consulting services. And then finally, I would say is some of the softer skill professional development stuff we do, which I call the organizational skills. This is a supervisory, this is strategy planning, this would be some of your sales and marketing work that we do. Paul, I think, again, I'll go back to a point you made. Larger companies have these individual departments, right? It could be a process department, it can be a quality, it can be your sales and marketing, it could be your human resourcing and training. Here at New York MEP, we like to have experts. We develop our business models to have experts in every one of those business areas that you would typically find at a larger manufacturing organization. New York MEP has that expertise, and specifically for the small companies. So again, they can reach outside of their small manufacturing shop, reach into New York MEP, find that expert and deliver that expert and point that expert at a problem.
Excellent.
All right, we do have just a few minutes left, so we are going to ask the same question of the IRV. So I'll just say it again. So what training programs does the IRV offer to help meet employer and workforce needs?
So first, I would say from a workforce development perspective, our 66 micro-credentials are fourth in all of SUNY, and they're very targeted, short duration, skill-based, very much workforce development based. We focus on really three areas that are going to affect most businesses. The first, almost everything from an agribusiness we cover. That's meat processing, food safety, artificial insemination, dairy processing, all the different stages of dairy processing. We have hands-on skill training for people. Second, what we call ag engineering, which includes electrical, hydraulics, engines, EV power sources, and all of the basic and advanced and applied learnings around those things. And then business focused. So human resources, project management, supply chain, customer service, all of those kinds of things that those small businesses might need help in their supervisors, their managers, understanding and knowing what to do and how to grow their business.
Outstanding. So we've reached our time limit. Are there any closing remarks, or are you satisfied with your delivery of information? Is there anything you forgot, Corey, Mary, Scott, that you wanted to share? It was very comprehensive, very good.
No, I think this was great. Thank you.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Joe.
All righty. Well, thank you, everybody, again. This is the kickoff to Economic Development Week, our first of a series of sessions throughout the week. Please check our website, seecny.org, to register for the follow-on events. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a wonderful Monday.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Bye now.